The last time I remember being super amazed by a movie was Across the Spider-Verse. When was that released? Part of that was because it has some very unique and mind-blowing animation that you could tell had nothing but pure passion, dedication, and creativity put into it. And a movie that just recently came out reminded me quite a bit of something like Across the Spider-Verse. Alright, pause. Did this guy really just come in with a chain, fight off 3 guys at once, karate chopping, kicking, pulling off a whole... all the while doing it silently? Predator, killer of killers. This one scene summarizes this entire movie because, I mean, this is what it's all about. High-octane action that is so beautifully pieced together and animated that you barely need to see anything to know that this is an awesome movie. It's now one of my most favorites I've watched in a while. Now, I've noticed lately that whenever I watch a movie or play a game, if it has a story, I'm always thinking if the story isn't super interesting or keeping me entertained, then I'm not really into it, which, I mean, you know, makes sense. But the story in here didn't really blow me away with some super mind-bending twist or super deep sentimental moments, which I'm not saying it doesn't have, but it gets completely overshadowed by the action. I was glued to the screen the entire time, and there were a few moments where I had to rewind just one part of it because some of the fight scenes were just that good. I feel like the story is pretty straightforward. It's an anthology of 3 short stories about 3 warriors that end up facing off against a predator. As someone who has never seen a single Predator film, this is a pretty good one to start off with. These 3 warriors are from different time periods and places. The first one is a Viking woman who is fulfilling a grudge she holds against her father's killer. The second is about 2 brothers.
この葉は共に育つが兄ゆえ共には散らぬ
One is chosen as a hare, and the other becomes a ninja who fights against his own brother. The last one is about this guy named Taurus, who is young, he's a bit of a dreamer, a bit naive. He wants to fly, and that wish gets fulfilled in the form of a draft from the US Army during World War II. The shield, the sword, and the bullet are what these stories are called. I won't spoil how exactly they all end up being connected, besides fighting a predator, but it's awesome. In the trailer, when I saw the ninja, I already knew I was going to like that part of the movie because I just messed with anything that has swords and samurai and obviously ninjas. But I didn't expect to like the World War II portion as much as I did. The, airplanes, dogfights. I mean, this guy Torres going head to head in his rinky-dinky little plane against an alien AC-130. It is different than anything I've ever seen. I'm usually a sucker for hand-to-hand combat, but some of the airplane sequences in here are some of the coolest scenes I've ever watched. Now, the monsters, I don't know much about the predators besides that they seem like aliens that are just looking for a fight. With these 3 different stories, we are given 3 different beasts. In a way, they sort of complement their opponents. With Torres, he has to go against a predator that uses an aircraft as a weapon. Mr. Ninja goes against a pretty stealthy and agile one. But the best example of what I mean definitely has to be with the first story we see. Ursa, the Viking woman out on a quest for revenge. It's pretty easy to see right off the bat that the Vikings are brutes. In the first battle, they destroy a whole village pretty easily, torture a guy. Even when Ursa goes to the place where her father's killer resides, she just storms right in. Everything goes balls to the walls, and Ursa just powers through everything she comes across. She's vicious, definitely has muscle. But then this dude pops out. A huge hulking titan that takes out all these buff looking Vikings with a single punch. He even has a cannon arm that launches air blasts towards his surroundings. What makes these stories and really the fight scenes even cooler isn't just the technology that the predators have to hunt humans, but how each of the warriors approach having to fight against these monsters. Thinking on their feet, using their skills that they have honed throughout their life, turning the predators' weapons against them, spurred on by rage, grief, and a desperate need to survive. It creates a very suspenseful movie. Why do I think this is the best film of the year? Probably because this and Nosferatu are the only movies I've seen that have come out this year. But there's another element in here that adds to everything. Besides the sweet animation and cool looking fight scenes working hand in hand with each other, this other thing I'm talking about is sound. I'm not even going to act like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to sound design and what really goes into it, but the sound is something that made me feel super immersed into this movie, and I really noticed during the whole ninja part. During this section, there are little to no words spoken until the last like 2 minutes. That's the sound of a fight. I feel like anime has really conditioned me to expect that when characters have a fight, they have to have an inner monologue during the fight. But in Hair, it's not like that at all. It's all or nothing. I mean, even with the planes, there's moments where things just go dead silent and all you hear is a plane cutting through the air. And this is only one aspect of this movie that I really found super awesome. The details here are part of what makes this movie so cool. I don't know if any of you have watched Love, Death, and Robots, but the best way I can describe this movie is take your favorite episode of that show and stretch it out until it runs the length of an hour-long movie. That's kind of what this feels like. I'm really making this comparison because the animation just reminds me of that. I think I also saw somewhere that this was animated using like Unreal Engine or something. I'm not sure how entirely that works, but Unreal Engine. All I could tell is that there was definitely a lot of work put into it. In conclusion, this movie is one of the best I've seen in a while. I don't really review movies or talk about them all that much, but this one has a pretty solid story, stellar action scenes. This was just one of those things I needed to talk about, make a video, because it just screamed at me that this is one of those things. Cool movie. Anyways though, thanks for watching. Have a good night or day. See you in the next one, and peace.